So, for any of you nerds out there, can any of you guys tell me what movie this is from? You look really excited. What is it?
Harry Potter.
All right, so that's correct. But if you can actually see it, sorry about the lighting. That this image.
Oh, sometimes when you use a pointer, when it's on the internet, it's trouble.
Okay, so I'll see it like that. So that on the top image, you see that it's golden, and then on the bottom one, it's gray, but it's the same series. So why is that? That on the top one, for any of you that know it, and that this was like his first couple of years, where it started out with like these really golden tones, and then as he got older and he started to deal with with Voldemort and all his enemies, everything got real, and then it turned really dark and somber. And so for my project, I'm going to be focusing on the color psychology within film, and specifically how it evokes certain emotions out of the audience. So why should we care about it? Because we all watch movies. I'm pretty sure none of you have never seen a movie in your life. And we're surrounded by colors at every single moment of every single day. But yet we don't really understand it fully. And so here we have people who work in the film industries, like the directors, cinematographer, costume designers, art directors, and production designers. And they all, and every single one of them, in their own certain ways, deals with colors at some point. Whether it's saturating the entire movie, or designing what color clothes this character should wear, to how the scene should be painted, to give a certain feel. Especially for my project, which is going to focus more on production design and saturation of colors, where I'm going to be creating 4 maquettes or 3D models, whatever you want to call it, of the scenes, of two scenes from 2 movies and 1 scene each. My first movie will be The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, so most of you will know him. And I will be taking as well from Wes Anderson's Grand Budapest Hotel, which came out last year. And if you know about his movies, they're very, very colorful. For some reason, it's almost obnoxious how he uses his colors. And I'm going to take these scenes, take the original forms, but then redo the color palette so that it evokes a different emotion. Like if Wes Anderson is having all these pink colors, what would happen to the storyline if I made it more neutral, grays, and more boring? If I took Stanley Kubrick's pastel kind of colors, where the rooms are all one simple shade, and I made it a little bit more elaborate, more like a normal bathroom, what would that entail for the plot line? And I will be focusing on aspects of color symbolism in the color psychology, because through neurological studies, as well as color symbolism studies within literature, and that they have noticed that although colors might evoke, that we can each identify different colors with different things. Like we associate red with lust, passion, violence, and maybe green tones with envy or nature. But we all seem to get similar psychological reactions. Like we all, as soon as we see red, we feel the passion. When we see grays, we feel a little bit depressed. And I'm going into why we feel that way, and if it's meant to prove that it's not just some mumbo jumbo science out there. And so I end off this presentation. I'm hoping that I will be able to teach all of you that psychology, especially color psychology, that it's a legitimate thing, and that we need to pay attention to it, because we can't live in a world full of color and not know. And we owe to the people that work on the films to understand their stories for how they made it to be.
Okay, question.
Callie?
So how are you gonna take a freeze or a screenshot of a particular scene and then edit that photo to different colors? Is that how you're gonna?
I actually have been doing that, but I'm going to be creating a 3D structure of it, so that I will be painting it instead of just taking a picture. And then it'll be sort of almost like a mini self-experiment, so you can see the differences between the two scenes. and that I will hopefully be getting the chance this week to go to the Disney Pixar exhibit, where I will actually be able to manipulate the colors within Finding Nemo, which will be so much fun for me. And then I'll be talking to Mr. Gales' wife, who's actually a specialist in color theories, as well as Ms. Walshak and Mr. Harris.
Other questions?
Gus?
How come you chose The Shining in Grand Budapest?
Well, the Grand Budapest Hotel was actually recommended to me by Mr. Nicolaitis because he recommended Wes Anderson films in general because Wes Anderson is almost strictly known for his use of colors.
And like symmetry. Are you going to touch on symmetry too?
The symmetry?
Yeah, because that's like the big thing Wes Anderson does, is he makes every shot really symmetrical.
I'm not focusing on symmetry, I'm just focusing on the color palette itself. And I chose The Shining because I wanted to look at something that, because Kubrick, he basically made the entire film. He was a director, he was a cinematographer, he was a production designer, he did everything, and people were just like on the sides, so that he had a purpose for every single thing. And I thought that it was a little bit more, it isn't as obvious when you look at it, but when you know about his films, and then you have to think, why did he do this for this reason? And you don't normally see green bathrooms or red bathrooms anywhere, so which made me wonder about it. That's a question. Anything else? Sophia?
Where did this idea come from?
This actually came from 10th grade when I had Miss Galvin for English, and we talked a lot about color symbolism, like in The Great Gatsby, and then and the Joy Luck Club, and I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting, to the point where I would send her, I'm really embarrassed, but like 2-page essays on my thoughts on color symbolism within the text. And then I ended up doing that for my research paper in 11th grade. And I was like, well, I want to do film. I don't want to do literature because no one really cares about. I mean, there are some people out there who love books, but everyone knows films. Like everyone knows this one that was Harry Potter that I was looking at, and everybody is familiar with it. So I thought, if I'm going to apply to film school, I might as well show them what I know, and then use this skill later in life to become a production designer myself, hopefully.
Any other questions? We have time? No? All right, thank you much.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, did I cut somebody else? Go ahead.
So, hypothetically, if I'm not that interested in film, sure my friends ask me to go to the movies every once in a while, but then they don't I don't necessarily have that much interest in going past a story or action sequences. How would you recommend?
So are you saying that you just want to go to films not to get a deeper meaning, but just to spend time watching a movie? Is that what you
I think some people do that, right? Because
yeah, sadly.
so how do you plan to make this project relevant for them as well as for people who really love film?
So for people who really love film, it will be easier to get to them because they probably already have some beliefs or thoughts within them about deeper aspects of it. But for people who aren't as big on film as you say they would be, I probably have to use more of the contemporary issues, more action movies, and then how even they still pertain to my area of color psychology. And I'll probably have to come up with a way to make it more intriguing for them. So that's a challenge I'll have to take on. Bobby?
Are you only focusing on movies that are in color rather than black and white, or black and white movies that have
Actually,
colors?
I am going to include in my final presentation a comparison of The Bewitched, which was actually originally a black and white film, and then turned into color, and then probably also modern examples of some strictly black and white, and also Sin City, which is black and white, but it includes spots of color.
Speaking of that, The Giver, do you know how
Oh yeah.
The Giver and Wizard of Oz is also in there, and the third movie, the one with Reese Witherspoon, Pleasantville,
Yeah.
and Schindler's List. See, I have a whole thing of these, and it's always going to be pertaining to a lot of things.
There's also this theory out there that people wear the colors that you wear in your clothes reflects your personality or
Don't you know my research paper was all about?
yeah, people who tend to wear bright patterns or colors are happier happier and people who are like duller toned are more.
So that would be focusing more on the costumes, which I can get into probably in my presentations, but I'm not going to be focusing solely on those. But those are going to be part of it.
Interesting. All right, thank you much.